Good morning, Minister Brian Bordley. I did say that correctly, right?
Bordley.
Bordley. Okay. The R is not at the right. It's not BR. It's BOR.
Yeah, there's no A, but everybody wants to, do their thing.
Insert it.
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys, you are watching Get It, Got It Good. G3 for short on WBGR Health and Wellness Channel. And of course, with the coronavirus going on, we're doing this a little bit differently today. Right? And I see you're driving. Is it a beautiful day or a chilly day?
It's a beautiful, sunny, fishy day, boy.
And that's where you're headed to, correct?
I'm about to get on a boat and go catch some extra large catfish.
Well, I appreciate the time that you've taken out to join us today. And let's talk some things about, what's going on in society, the coronavirus and everything else. But before we delve into that, you guys, I definitely want to take a moment to shout out my sponsors. And of course, that's Nail Fetish Boutique, who is located in East Baltimore. Dance Solutions Youth Outreach, One Man Sharpens Another, Maryland Prep Academy, Favor One, of course, WBGR, and of course, Total Entertainment Radio. So you guys, you can catch Get It Got It Good every Wednesday at 11:30 a.m. on WBGR networks. That's through Roku, Fire Stick, Live, YouTube, any and everywhere. And of course, you can catch me weeknights on Total Entertainment Radio at 6 p.m. So you guys definitely tune into that. So, Minister, let's delve in, okay?
Sure.
You and I have had a chance to speak on several occasions now, and your background is fascinating. You've been and done a little bit of everything,
yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, we're going to talk first about some coronavirus preventions and things like that. But why, as a minister, do you feel as though you have the ability to speak on that subject? And because I know a lot of people are going to ask, you're not a doctor, you're not this. So tell us, why do you feel is your calling to actually speak on some of the preventative measures that we can take?
Well, that's just it. A while back, I was given a life or death sentence. I myself was suffering from blood infections, from a dialysis port that was in my chest. And I didn't want to be here anymore. I didn't want to be one of the patients that years previously I worked on. I made sure, got out of the chair in dialysis. And unfortunately, due to a patient sneezing on me, I now became a dialysis patient. In that life or death moment, me asking God to let me go, I don't want to be a burden to my family or to my loved ones. He told me it wasn't my time. And my daughter sat on my lap on my deathbed and said, "Daddy, I don't want you to go." She was 4 years old at the time. And later that night, he told me I needed to be here to protect her, to look out after her, but also to help his people understand this health and wellness better. Because we were failing on our health and wellness as a community. We were allowing doctors to dictate our well-being, and they no longer gave us that sound rationale that made us feel comfortable. It started to become more profitization and more propaganda, and nobody was explaining to the little person how to deal with health and wellness. My background was 30 years of studying health and wellness, homeopathic, health, herbal intervention with medication. My background was sitting underneath of master herbalists and reading a lot of medical journal that for some reason fascinated me. I always wanted to get to the pieces of the puzzle that led to the outcome. And that was just always my fascination as a kid. So as I got older, that's what it became. It became, tell me your problem, I'll tell you where it started and how you got here. Let me show you how to get it resolved, how to fix it. And that led to this moment why I've been speaking out as a wellness coach, TB7 wellness coach in the community, and going up and down the East Coast to various churches that will receive the information to try to change our community's health. Amen.
And you say you're reaching out up and down the East Coast to the churches that will receive the information. What do you mean by the churches that will receive? Will all churches open your doors, or some of them are a little bit hesitant?
A lot of people in this, before Corona got here, a lot of people were very reluctant, meaning health isn't important. I'll deal with it when it shows up, but I won't have a preventive mindset. I won't have a mindset of what I eat today determines if I'm mobile 10 years from now, if I'm of acute mind 10 years from now. Nobody understood what I was not only speaking, but also the services that I was trying to give away. Nobody saw that when it was free.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of times we're a now society. We don't have long-term vision. And we say that health and wellness can be expensive. And so we're going to worry about today, and we'll worry about tomorrow. So how do you combat that type of limited thinking?
Well, in this day and age when so many of us hear the words organic and understand the price tag that comes with eating more organic, my job was to show people that were economically challenged how to make living healthier affordable. And there are small things that you can do, but there are great impact on the overall outcome of your health. So a lot of folks explain to me, well, you want me to eat more chicken, fish, poultry, but those are higher meat proteins than pork chops and sometimes ground beef. And the issue that I'm trying to explain to them is what you eat is more expensive in the long run than the short run. So if eating healthier chicken versus a pork chop that has parasitic worms in it, then you're conditioning the body to be a little bit more leaner and healthier down the road than taking time off from work, catching colds, going to the doctors, having to stay out with your kids because they're sick, impacting your daycare now. So the long run is actually less financially of a burden than the short term version of let me eat cheaper foods that are conducive to just something to eat. Oodles and noodles should never be consumed. It's not a good food. But because it's cheap, so many of us gravitated to it, especially during our college years, not knowing that we were polluting our bodies, causing the obesity and the diabetes that would form 10 years later.
So it's amazing to me. You say oodles and noodles should never be consumed. However, when you look for oodles and noodles currently in a grocery store, it's as elusive as toilet paper is. So that just goes to show you the mindset of the community. Now, do you find it is a different mindset throughout different demographics?
Yes. When you're a little bit more financially affluent, it's easier to eat healthier, but they lack the information. So, yeah, they could buy the supplements, they could buy all of the health products necessary, but they don't have the reliable source of guidance to make a stronger impact into their resistance to the viral attack. They don't have that knowledge. And when we learn biblically that my people perish from a lack of knowledge, that goes across the board of demographic, across the board of financial um, financial households.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, and you already stated that the pharmaceutical industry and the medical industry is about gain, profitable gain. There you go. So if that is the case, how do people then educate themselves? Because most people are not going to sit down and read medical journals and things for fun as you have.
Correct. It's one of the reasons why I've tried to put myself out there as much as possible, audio and visual. We do a weekly Wellness Friday preached word that gives people access to me to ask any and every health question possible. A lot of my clientele is women between 34 and 54. I help a lot of women with various feminine issues that you only really talk to a doctor, and even then, they don't give you any information of how to correct the problem, just how to over medicate it. And I've gone to so many churches in the last 5 years trying to give information away to make people see um, this plight of health as this is your lineage that I'm speaking of. I'm not talking about whether you just get up tomorrow and have a cold and be okay. I'm talking, what are you going to be to your family in the next 20 years? You know, the comedian spoke, what's the next 20 summers of your life going to look like? And that puts it in some very direct understanding. We're talking about summers. You only have at the most 75 to 85 summers. How will you spend the next 20 summers of your life? Will it be with your full cognitive mind? Will it be with mobility of your body? Or are you going to be incapacitated in a wheelchair, having someone push you around or even clean you up?
Most
You have,
definitely.
you have the ability to decide how that happens.
So it's crazy how so many things is related to finances. And you stated that people do not value, certain demographics does not value free information. They think that free equals unuseful or whatever. However, what is your feelings on that? Do people equate the cost of something to the value?
And it's funny you mentioned that. When I was giving my services for free, I couldn't get anybody to make a comment, call me, ask a health and wellness question. However, we go to the doctors every day and take free medication that they call, this is a sample trial pack. What you don't know about that sample medication, although it is free, it hasn't been completely tested. It hasn't been validated by the FDA. It's in trial mode. And they're giving you something that they don't really even know the full extent of the side effects from that medication. But I've seen them give free medication to so many people, and we take it like it was a God sent miracle. Meanwhile, I'm giving free medical information on how to get rid of diabetes, how to reverse being insulin dependent, how to get off high blood pressure medicines, how to throw your metformin away, and I couldn't give it away. Part of it was the validation. You're not a doctor, you don't know anything. But I've gone through this personally, and I had other folks trust me enough to try it my way, my protocols, and walk away with success where we could drop weight. That was the first aspect I came in at, trying to reduce obesity in my community. And people, they didn't follow, they didn't listen. It took most people 100 and just to drop weight. It wasn't because that the information wasn't right. It was really because we are a people, a culture that's non-disciplined. We don't apply discipline to many aspects of our life. Thus, anybody giving us additional protocols, we just rebel against. We should. And that's why free doesn't work. It wasn't until I started adding financial compensation to my protocols that people felt, now that I've put my money up, it's a sin for me to have to waste money. And that's what happened. They started taking it seriously after that one piece of charging folks for something I was giving away.
Yes. Minister Brian, your network is breaking up. I don't know where you just drove through, but your network was breaking up.
I do apologize. I'm driving through Hyattsville.
Okay. So as far as free medication and free this and free that, why is it as a society that we would prefer to take free medication, free pharmaceuticals, and discredit holistic approaches that were obviously proven in the years before us? Why have we switched completely to depending on doctors and what they tell us instead of self-educating ourselves?
Personal views is when we were slaved, we had a more fixed mindset. It was the same mindset that created Black Wall Street. The 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 community that was self-inclusive, that had separation. We had our own doctors, our own professionals. We had a wonderful life at that time, and due to the jealousy, enviousness of our white counterparts, we were exploited not to believe in ourselves. It's been systematically proven of how Caucasians have allowed us and showed us how to devalue ourselves. In that malicious mindset, it took away our understanding how incredible intelligent we are. And every few years, we see incredible African American people surface. And to some avail, they are either discredited, disvalidated, they're sometimes knocked off of their pedestal by society's ills. It's just something that we've seen since Martin Luther King to Malcolm X. We just don't allow any individual to help free us. And because of that, we've allowed so many Caucasians to teach us that what we know, what we feel, is discredited. You know, I watched doctors tell older seniors that if you don't take these 12 pills I'm giving you, you won't live too long. I've watched how they explain to people that you don't know anything about your baby. Trust me, I'll make sure she lives from this asthma attack. And all of these were lies and propaganda that they gave us, and we fed into it thinking, why not pick up a book? Information is too readable now and too much on internet. We don't have to be controlled. We can be free to think outside of the box. And that's what information is. That's what this digital age provided us. Information that was no longer secretive and no longer only exploited by one race of people. We have to get out of a landlocked mindset.
And what about having just enough information in order to make yourself dangerous, but not having enough information to actually do you could do yourself harm by just having that limited information, but you think you know a lot because you've done maybe a little bit of research, but you don't have the whole piece of the puzzle.
Correct, unfortunately. So that means you've got to go to other sources that have tested the protocols out. You've got to go to other places and experiment some things. And I had a I had a mother come to me that her child had an asthma attack. And I grew up being obese, having constant asthma attacks and getting adrenaline shots ministered over time. But even my one at the time, Dr. Stambler, he never really expressed the relation to reducing body weight leads to less asthmatic issues. Once I got older and I was able to understand if you change the diet and reduce the dairy, the body no longer has the mucus causing ingredients that stifle and suffocate the bronchitis, cells, capillaries, and lung. That one piece of evidence changed my asthmatic modality for the rest of my life. So you mean if you drop 30 pounds now, change your diet, stop consuming cow's milk and other things that most asthmatic patients are allergic to, I would have been so much better. But that didn't get expressed to my mom. That wasn't told to my parents. It took me years of learning the relationship of how asthma affects our culture and our people. We're not supposed to be asthmatics, but pediatricians tell you to have a healthy baby, drink cow's milk because calcium, and that is a lie. That's a lie. It in your pediatrician's care, yes. It allows their children to go to fancy schools, yes, because they're going to see you so regularly for that asthmatic issue, you're going to put their kids through college. That's what it does. But
Well,
no, it doesn't. Go ahead.
I've always said that that medicine is a band-aid. A lot of times, depending on your doctor, they will band-aid issues, therefore having you in there systematically over the long haul, which of course brings more revenue to them, more income.
And you're correct. Medicine no longer is about the welfare and care of you. Pick a disease and I'll show you systematically how it was implemented to create profitization. It was never designed for the wellness of our people. It was designed to make the medical community extremely rich. So when we look back at medicine, it only goes back 100 years in this country. We look at how medicine schools started. The medical industry went to the four most richest people on the planet at the time: Carnegie, Rockefeller, Roth Schneider, and I can't think of the last one. And it asked for $1 million from each family. The family gave $1 million so that it could promote a medical industry and train the next future doctors. In return of this money, it did not ask for a loan repayment. It asked that you allow the family members to sit at the board of the institute. Institute, it was able to create and profit and create the profitness. Yep.
No, I was just saying, wait a minute, repeat that. It allowed, in return, instead of a loan payment, it allowed for something because you broke up.
Okay. Instead of a loan payment like a regular debt, they allowed the four families to implement board members to their board of directors, which would shape the future of medicine to be geared for profitability, not well-being. Why do you think you see so many cancer research institutes pop up in every major city, in every urban major city? It was never designed as a well-being capacity. It was designed for profitability. In Baltimore City, we just put a proton cancer research facility inside of University of Maryland or something. And unfortunately, proton therapy doesn't work. So they bill it as we're able to hit the cancer specifically and destroy the cancer anywhere in the body with less invasive treatment. However, what they don't tell you is the price tag of proton therapy. They don't tell you that remission is not likely. They don't tell you that if you don't change your diet and improve your gut health, that you will still have cancer. Cancer is based upon four medical understandings: environment, what you eat, what you put around your body, what you put on your body, the length of time, and your emotional capacity. Now people say, well, hold up, Brian, what does my emotional capacity have to do with cancer? Because most cancer is already in the body. It's just that your body is able to recognize it and keep it at a standstill. But once you have similar like a polyp in your intestine, that polyp is your body buffering poison and succumbing and creating layers of tissue around it, similar to what a fibroid in a woman's uterus is. It's poison that's in a part of your body that your body is trying to buffer, just like in a just like in an oyster, a pearl. When an oyster gets sand inside of it, it buffers layers around it, and those tissues create a pearl. Same thing your body is trying to do with poison.
So
And once you go ahead.
if we're having issues with the medical community as a whole, as far as we know they're band-aiding, we know they're not trying to cure certain ailments because it's too profitable. So what are some of the things that we can do at home to keep ourselves safe, healthy, virus-free? And I'm talking about not just the coronavirus, but I'm talking about the flu virus. I'm talking about the common colds, just the basic everyday ailments. You and I both had pneumonia prior. So what are some of the things that we can do at home?
Well, outside of this virus, one of the main things you can do, and I'll go back to eating, is eat healthier. That means you don't put foods in that weaken your immune system, which is in your gut. If you eat those foods over a long period of time, they make you more resistant to viral attacks,
And what
more
are those
colds,
foods?
flus. So
What are those
that
foods?
takes us back to fruits and vegetables. Now, minus if you're diabetic, I need to speak a little bit more directly into your dietary. But if you're just a regular individual, you should never consume soda. Sugary beverages lower your immune system. You should never drink McDonald's tea. Sugary beverages lower your immune system. Cancer feeds off of sugar. You should never really consume a lot of cakes and pies, especially around the holidays. You need to eat more high fibrous foods, cream of wheat, oatmeal, farina, um, good breads. Any of that fiber helps to reduce high blood pressure, helps to reduce high blood sugars. You need to eat more leaner meat. And then one of the biggest things is you never eat big consumptions of meat late at night because it disrupts your body's process of rejuvenation. Now we're focusing on digestion for 8 hours versus what your body is supposed to do while you're asleep, which is rejuvenate. Healthy green vegetables. The only vegetables that we don't put in the body is broccoli and cauliflower. They're man-made. They block the body from absorbing vitamins, minerals, and iodine, which every African American woman needs to control her endocrine system, which thus controls her hormones. So if you're telling me you're 50 plus in this society and you don't have any hormone replacement, not Premarin, which is what doctors give you, which is a poison, but you're not putting any natural hormone balancers into your body, of course your menopause is off. Of course your cycle is off. Of course the regularity and the control of your flow is off. All of these things come from food.
Hmm. So if someone is trying to eat healthy, do you think that the food that we actually do consume is poisoned itself? The ground is depleted of vitamins and minerals, as well as the animals being fed hormonal supplements as well. So how do you eat healthy when you know that the things you're consuming, even though they're labeled healthy, have issues as well?
And that's a great question. One of the things that we found out is, yes, there are a lot of variations to food. When you go in Aldi's and you see chicken breast in a yellow pack, and then you see maybe a Perdue, the difference is what the food that the chickens ate. So the Perdues were fed marigolds. The Perdues were fed this great grain. This other one might have been feeding soy or different grains or different byproducts of what they fed that chicken. And yes, the price point may be extremely different. Short term. The long term is the Purdue is going to give you better health. The other chicken will give you health, but it's not your best choice. But if you're on a fixed budget, fine, do it. But now we changed how we prepare it. We don't turn around and then fry it in Crisco, soy, canola, or vegetable oils because now you've added a double poison on top of the protein that just wasn't raised well. What I would have done was I would have baked the chicken, I would have broiled the chicken, I would have used some other measures of cooking it to add more healthier flavor. I would have added more vegetables to the meal. And even though my vegetables don't have the great soil content that they used to have before, it doesn't take much to grow vegetables. You can get a crate, some dirt, and a plastic bag and put some seeds in and grow your own vegetables.
Indeed, you can.
It's one of the things that we have walked away so far from self-sustaining us. My grandmother had a whole block garden in the back of her yard that she grew vegetables. If least nothing, grow tomatoes, something that's real easy to grow and use. Make your own sauces, make your own guacamole from avocados, but grow something. You know, we have become a convenient society that if I can't pick it up and walk with it, I don't want to spend the time learning how to make it. And that's the unfortunate part of our culture. We walked away from being everything self inclusive to now we are the biggest dependencies on this earth. So our finances don't own anything. And I'm glad that I've met so many black farmers over the years that are still producing, that I'm exposing young kids to. You're going to learn how to grow your own herbs because the herbs will heal your body. We'll move into the food later.
Most definitely. And I know my mom and my aunts still have gardens because they're constantly saying that you grow your own stuff, it tastes better. It definitely
Correct.
tastes better. Okay, so what do you think about the toilet paper shortage or the hand sanitizer shortage or the way that people are responding to the coronavirus? Will any of that, in your opinion, help, staying healthy?
Yes, it will. But for many families that cannot afford those extra disposable um, toiletries, I wanted to shed light for other folks so that you understand what you can do. A paper towel at Family Dollar or the Dollar Tree store is $1. You can you can put first you can wrap the paper towel after you remove the inner core stick, and you can wrap it in just some simple saran wrap. Most homes have saran wrap. You can pour in 3 or 4 capsules of bleach just to saturate the paper towels, and now you have sanitary napkins that will help wipe down household hard surfaces. Baby wipes are something that's a little bit more reputable than everything else that may be off the shelves at this time. And they're cheap. You can go into Walmart and get baby wipes for $1. Try to stay with the Huggies brand because a lot of other brands tend to have propylene glycol in it. That's a form of antifreeze. So if you ever ask me why do they put antifreeze inside of baby wipes that are supposed to be sensitive for your baby? Well, the idea is man has industrialized so many poisons on this earth, they have to get rid of them in small measures. So they put them in a lot of things that they claim will not create side effects, but they do. So find the Huggies brand, look on the back. You'll see no propylene glycol. Hopefully, you'll see aloe vera, and buy that pack. And then you can put a couple capsules of bleach on that, and you still have sanitation. If toilet paper is out, but you have baby wipes, use them. You may not flush them because they may clog up your system, but you can put them in a bag.
Minister, I lost you. Minister Brian. Okay, guys, while we lost him, I will wait for him to unfreeze or get back on the line. So that way we can continue this fascinating conversation with Minister Brian. You can agree or you can disagree. The purpose is to get you guys to start to think. Start to think independently. Come up with your own thoughts, opinions, and figure it out for yourself. Do your own research. You know, a lot of times our kids tell us on a daily basis that we are learning stuff in school that we will never use. Some of the things that you do learn in school is how to find out some information, how to do that research, how to weed your resources or your references and figure out what are the good sources, what are the bad sources, and then put two and two together and use some deductive reasoning and figure out what it is that you believe and what feels good for you and your family and your home. Because at the end of the day, you guys, it's up to you to protect your family, your home, and your children. And no one can tell you how to do that better than you and what you have inside of you as far as what's good for your family. And nobody knows your family like you do. So definitely, I hope you guys are enjoying this conversation that we're having today with Minister Bordley, Brian Bordley. Make sure I had to say that one correctly. And we will be coming from this platform for a while now until government reduces or releases some of the restrictions based on the current situation with the coronavirus. So you guys, let me take this time as well to just shout out WBGR Network, Total Entertainment Radio, and of course my sponsors, once again, One Man Shop is Another, Maryland Prep Academy, Favor One, DSDSYO, and then of course Nail Fetish, who keeps the nails on fleek, you guys. So definitely you can look up any of those organizations via Get It Got It Good G3 on Facebook, IG, YouTube, all social media platforms, Twitter. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, definitely feel free to post them under the videos or send me a message and I will definitely get back to you. If you know any small businesses that are looking for extra exposure, we are currently accepting commercials as well as ad placements throughout the WBGR network as well as Total Entertainment Radio. So you guys, we will be right back after a brief break so I can definitely get the minister back online. Stay tuned. So welcome back, Minister Brian. I'm glad you were able to get back on. I know doing Zoom interviews are a little bit different from being live in a studio, but that's the world we're living in currently today.
Right.
And I do definitely appreciate your insight and your thoughts and opinions and feelings that come from your years of experience. So just as a recapper of things, there are many things that we can do in order to protect ourselves, to protect our families, in order to keep ourselves healthy. And a lot of it stems from basic nutrition,
Correct.
right? So what role, because you are a minister, what role does the churches, in your opinion, play in the spreading of news and education and health and wellness?
I think the church is designed to not only put out true information, but go after those individuals that can present to the church um, just solid information that makes the information readily available to them, regardless of their financials, regardless of their education, regardless of um, their just lifestyle. You know, we look at a church as supposed to be a place where we can gain information. We bring all these various pastors in to speak prosperity into our community, but nobody comes and teaches how to get rid of diabetes, how to reduce blood pressure, how to deal with this coronavirus when I don't have the money and I just gave my last $5 to the church. There are people out there that can explain that information to the church and its congregation. We just have to seek them.
Well, it's amazing to me because a lot of times the church contradicts itself. We want to preach prosperity, but on the same accord, a lot of people believe that money is the root to all evil. And so therefore there's if I have money, then I must be wicked and evil. But we're constantly preaching something that we don't really internalize. So what do you feel on that? And this is a whole nother topic that we could get into that we won't, but just really quick, is there a disconnect when it comes to prosperity? There's several types of prosperity: financial, spiritual, health. So what do you think as far as that?
I agree. I understand that the church nowadays is a business, and I understand that the lights got to stay on. I've got to provide refuge, a sanctuary for those people that have been beat down, have been hurt, and need a place to come to recycle. However, I think we have over, personally, I think we have over bombarded our scriptures with too much prosperity and not enough how to make us better as a people. And sometimes that means I got to step on your toes and push you in ways you're not ready to move. But that doesn't mean the information is invalid. And we do prosperity so we can keep people happy, but we don't address why you're on welfare and you're the third generation on welfare. Why not come to some classes to learn how to be a professional, how to have professional skill set, how to learn how to type would get you a better job than a cashier stock person. But we don't sell that anymore. We sell the fluff, and as I was told, we sell the sexy. But none of that changes my demographic. None of that changes my economical base. None of that changes my mindset not to buy a $200 pair of Jordans and put this $200 into an investment in, in, instrument that can make my family better. We just aren't taught that mindset. Yes, the church does need money to keep the lights on, but it doesn't need a lot of money to make sure that your pastor drives a Bentley or I'm still struggling getting on a bus just to get here. Show me how to get a car so I can uplift my own family. That's what church was supposed to be. But somehow we've seen how every system has gotten polluted and everybody got greedy, whether it's politicians, whether it's pastoral clergy, whether it's medical, whether it's even daycare. All of our systems are just so polluted that we need to really take a hard look at, are you part of the problem or part of the solution? I want to be
Indeed,
part of the solution.
the solution, and as do I, and hence the reason I offer churches financial seminars and financial education and literacy, because I'm all about generational wealth. And I've come up against the same thing as far as our members and what they can do and what they can't. And your members, if 50% of your members are on welfare and yet they have the newest pair of Jordan, there is a mindset problem. And we won't even get started on daycare. I know daycare for me was more than a mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
So
I agree.
there's definitely a problem with that. And we can go on for days and days and days. However, I know you have a fishing trip to enjoy and get
Mm-hmm.
to. Um, Since you're going fishing, a lot of times when we're talking about food, since we talked about food, they say, oh, don't eat too much seafood. And I'm a seafood junkie. I can live off of seafood. But do you agree or disagree with that notion of there is a such thing as too much seafood in a diet?
You're not going to like my statement, so let me keep it as pure and simple as possible.
Okay. I'm ready for it.
In Leviticus, it tells us only to consume fish with scales and fins. Although I'm going to go catch catfish, I don't eat that. But that's food, as you said, that can feed somebody else that doesn't have access to food. That's my means. I'm going to give food away to people that I catch. But specifically, human body should never consume shellfish, crustaceans. They are ancestral relatives of spiders, cockroaches, and any other scavenger you want to put on the list.
You just
Because of
grossed
that,
me out.
because of that, all of them contain poisons that your body was never meant to utilize. So shrimp can tend to have the highest level of cholesterol. Shrimp normally come from third world countries that are given antibiotics. I did an ad showing people why you should never consume shrimp, and they didn't get it. I told people in churches, Baltimore had the highest cases of fibroids because African American women consume the highest amount of blue crabs because that crustacean has a poison in its liver sac, which is that green tamale that everybody got to eat. You never eat an animal's liver. That doesn't make sense. Why would you eat a scavenger's liver that breaks down poison? That's the easiest way to get fibroids in a woman's body.
You're
In
attacking Baltimore's crabs.
right.
You know that's
And you're
a
not
sin.
supposed to eat a crab. Why would you
Okay.
eat a crab that breaks down dead stuff? That doesn't make logical sense. You're not supposed to eat scavengers. The biblical principles were designed to keep you healthy because we wanted to look like our counterparts and sit up there and eat lobsters and crab legs and shrimp and be bougie. We started teaching it to our children that this is when we live in the good life, the good life. But in actuality, you're poisoning them. You're giving them foods their body was never meant to handle. And then we put it in so much frequency that now that I'm a little well-to-do, we gonna eat lobster tails. Who told you eating lobster was good for your body? He's nothing but a big cockroach.
Terrible. Now that you have officially saddened me, I'm gonna let you go and enjoy your fishing trip. I appreciate this time. We definitely have to do this again.
Very soon, I agree.
And delve into some other things.
There's so much information that my
Yes.
community does not have, and I've been looking for vehicles that had enough um, reputation to validate the information and explain it as community that you don't have to live in such bondage in your health. When I go through hospitals, there are so many people aching and dying. And then they even came to the hospital and got more issues on top of that. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be.
I always tell people the hospital is the worst place to be when you're sick because you pick up other stuff. So let me ask you, Minister Brian, how do people find you? How do they contact you?
BPMinc.org is one way. TB7 Wellness Coach on Facebook is one way. I'm even willing to give out a number. 855-739-3556 is our toll-free number. Pick up a phone, call, text. I don't care. Whatever you need to do, but just get underneath of some information that will change your life.
And you guys, knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. So
Correct.
definitely there it is out there if you want it. So there's no reason why people should perish because of the lack of knowledge, right?
Correct.
So definitely, Minister, I appreciate the time. I appreciate the information, the perspective, the outlook. We definitely have to do this again. So you go and enjoy your day. You guys definitely check out Get It Got It Good. All social media platforms is at Get It Got It Good G3. That's Facebook, IG, Twitter, YouTube, and as well follow WBGR Network. Specifically, this show airs on WBGR Health and Wellness Channel and Total Entertainment Radio. We come live 6 p.m. weeknights on Total Entertainment Radio and 11:30 a.m. Wednesdays on WBGR Network. So definitely, you guys, I appreciate you tuning in today and dealing with this flexible vehicle. And we will see you again really soon with some more very fascinating informational interviews. Thank you, Minister Brian. Appreciate you
for having me. Amen.
No problem. Enjoy your day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.